This is the plaintiff, Ralph Maggio. He says he bought signed baseball cards from the defendant with the signatures of Yogi Berra, Mickey Mantle, Joe DiMaggio, and Roger Maris. And all 4 of the autographs were forged. He had them authenticated. He has the proof and wants his money back because the defendant's nothing more than a scammer. He's suing for $795, the money he's owed. This is the defendant, John Riley. He says the plaintiff knew the signatures were not certified when he bought them, and that's why he got such a good price on the cards. The plaintiff stated it was worth the risk because the price was right. He took his chances, and no one scammed anybody in this case. He's accused of faking it.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
And welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff says the defendant sold him baseball cards with signatures of Yogi Berra, Mickey Mantle, and Joe DiMaggio, and turned out they were bogus. But the defendant says he went into the deal eyes wide open. It's the case of 3 strikes, and you're in People's Court.
Ralph Maggio,
Yes.
You are suing John Riley for $795 that you want returned to you, $550 that you paid him for autographs, and $245 that you spent in trying to authenticate them, only to find out that they were frauds. Tell me what's going on.
Yes, Your Honor. On March 5th of this year, I answered an ad on Craigslist, and I have a copy of the ad here as well. And the ad said that he was selling 3 autographed cards and an autographed envelope of Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris, Yogi Berra, and Joe DiMaggio.
Let me see the ad. Does the ad say how he happened to come across it?
Yes, it says it came from his father's estate, and his father got these autographs back in 1983, I believe it was, in an Atlantic City autograph show.
Okay, so go on.
Well, so we, as you can see, I also answered the email. These are the emails.
Okay.
Prior to the actual meeting, there was correspondence of 2 emails.
Okay.
One where I had offered him $550 for him, $500 for him, I'm sorry. He wanted $850.
Okay.
He said as long as I picked him up that day, I can get him for $550.
Okay.
So, long story short, that day we did meet at around, I think it was 4 o'clock.
Did these come with any authentication? Like
No.
Okay.
No.
You knew that though, right?
I knew it didn't come with anything. When I had met him and he gave them to me, I said, I'm going to go to get these authenticated. If they're not authenticated, and he stopped me. He says, no problem. I'll give you your money back. I know they're real. My father got them.
Okay.
So I said, okay, that's fine.
You didn't happen to get that in writing, did you?
No.
Of course
No.
not.
Of course not.
Of course not. I'd be out of a job if you did.
Sure.
Go ahead.
So, long story short, I took him. I gave him the money. The next 2 days later, I believe it was 3 days later, when I could have made an appointment with James Spence Authenticators, who's the #1 in the East Coast for authentication.
Indeed, I believe they've actually testified here before. Go ahead.
Yes. I went to them. He took them, James Spence himself. He looked through them. He said, every one of these are fake. He said, and in fact, he's seen these type of autographs before with the right slant and everything. He says, and this stuff has been around. I said, oh, that's great. He says, just go to the guy and tell me you want your money back. He says, this is bad.
Can I see the reports by the
Yes.
authentication company? What's going on, Mr. Riley?
Nothing. Okay. Everything so far is almost 100% correct. He didn't acknowledge that we spoke on the phone for a half an hour before meeting, and his biggest reason, the conversation we had was about baseball autographs and stuff like that. And I told him, after my father passed, nobody was interested in him in my house, so I wanted to get rid of them. And he told me that my price of $850 was too high because they weren't certified, and he'd be taking a risk buying them because he'd have to get them certified and everything else. And I told him, best of my knowledge, they were authentic. From what I understood as a kid and from what I was told, they were authentic.
So the guy says, to the best of my knowledge, they're authentic. Does the plaintiff lose?
Well, in my opinion, I think he does. He entered the contract. There were no terms or no stipulations. It's hard to get his money back.
But they were bogus. They were not Joe DiMaggio cards. What do you think?
I think he loses.
Because?
Because maybe he should have done some more research before he parted with his money.
Ooh. He's been schooled going inside the courtroom.
We met up. He took them. I told him if he has a problem, call me. It was about a week later, I think, he called me. I had to go away for work for a week. I told him, call me when I get back. And he proceeded to call me from a blocked phone number. I don't know if it's his work number or what it is. Yelling at me, screaming at me, telling me that the police have been investigating me for months. You're going to jail. This, that. Police officer. I called the police station after I heard the last message. Talked to the detective that he spoke to.
How did you know? Because he gave you the name of the detective?
No, I called and asked, and they.
How small is the department that you're calling? That they? Oh yeah, I remember.
North Plainfield Police Department maybe has 15 officers.
Okay,
three or four detectives.
Okay.
Spoke to the detective. He told me that he came in with paperwork and everything else, and I could pick up copies of it at the police station.
Did you?
No, didn't need to.
How do you figure?
Because 2 days later, I got a letter in the mail stating I was being sued.
Oh.
I know what he said.
What is your defense? You feel that Mr. Maggio took the risk?
He responded to an ad on Craigslist. Craigslist is not a store. It's people that has things. He knew they weren't. I couldn't prove anything about them. He told me himself, he looked at them and says, oh, I've seen hundreds of these. These look perfect. Everything else. And just kept harassing me, calling me, screaming at me.
No, yeah, but let's, he's calling you because you're blowing him off. I mean, yeah, you're ignoring him and now he's mad. But let's talk about what happened beforehand, because your defense has nothing to do with whether you find him to be annoying. Your defense is what it is you sold, what it is you said you were selling, and what risk he assumed by buying it. So you feel that because he knew they didn't come with authentication papers, it's buyer beware.
Just the fact of he told me he was taking a risk and he wouldn't be able to pay me my full amount because he had to get them certified.
Okay, tell me about that discussion about hey, they're not authenticated, so you got to cut the price down. Tell me about that.
Yes, Your Honor. As you can see, I gave the bailiff.
Did you give him the cards?
All the.
Let me see the actual cards.
I gave the bailiff all the copies of the phone records.
Did you ever have a discussion about lowering the price because I'm taking a risk and all that? Tell me about that.
No. The only so-called discussion was what you see there in an email.
Did your father have other stuff besides this?
No.
Those
are the only things. Well, he had a baseball signed that is in a safety deposit box. I've never seen it myself, but
how come these weren't? And where did you hear that your father stood in line at the convention?
From what I understand, after this happened, I did a little research myself. Apparently, they had people sign for them, or the dealers would sign for them and sell them. Instead of getting them hand signed, you would just go to the table and make a purchase.
Right.
So that's what I understand. I contacted a couple of guys that have shops in the area, and I spoke to them about it.
Let me tell you something. Number one, there's no question you get your $550 back. Okay, because this was advertised as real and it's not. The only thing that's up for grabs in my head is the $245. You say he should have to eat that, even though you know that you were buying this without certification papers, but he has to eat it. Tell me why it's fair that he eat it.
If they were real, which they claim they were, by virtue of that, then that would be fine. But since they're fake, this transaction should never have happened. And since it should never have happened, why should I be out?
Tell me why he's not right.
Because he would have paid the same amount whether they were correct or incorrect. If they were fake or not fake, he still would have had to get them certified. And he told me he was getting them certified. So
yeah, but if they're real and he has to pay to get them certified, he doesn't mind. Because you pay to get him certified and then...
Okay, then don't...
But if they're fake and he has to pay to get him certified, it's not his fault they're fake. Why should he be out the other $245?
As much as I don't want to sound like a jerk who's making the statement.
Go ahead.
You bought them off Craigslist. You bought them off a site that's notorious for stuff like this.
So he should have known that you were a fraud.
Not that I'm a fraud. I don't think I am.
Okay, so he should have known that you were claiming stuff was real when it wasn't. I don't know what you want. How do you want me to sugarcoat it, babe? I'll sugarcoat it any way you want. At the end of the day, you want me to say, buyer beware. You should have known that he was probably overreaching when he said my daddy stood in line to get this autograph. You should have known that he was just blowing smoke. I mean,
I
really.
wouldn't go that far, but at
I
the
don't
same
know.
time.
That's sort of the way it is. $7.95. Pay the guy. Before you leave here, we're going to hand you copies of those authentication papers that say these are complete frauds. Heaven help you if I see you on eBay trying to sell this. You got me?
You got it.
Okay.
All right, guys. Stay right there.
Well, here comes the defendant out here with his counterfeit cards here. Step on in here. Step up. What's your reaction to this outcome here?
What are you going to do?
You surprised to find out these are fake?
Yes, extremely.
Yeah? Let me see the Mickey Mantle. Right, Mickey Mantle, huh?
The worst part is you look online, the signature looks exactly the same.
Yeah, it looks. I'll give you $2 for it.
You got a deal.
All right, fine. I'll meet you in the back afterward. You just head right down this way. All right, so step on in here. What's your feeling? Didn't you know this is the business? You're in the business, right?
It's a tough business. Yes, it is.
I mean, so what's the big surprise?
Well, it's not so much of a big surprise as it is telling me that his father passed away, and this was part of what he did. I know that show did exist back then in '83, so I sort of put the pieces together that, you know what, maybe this is really legitimate. As it turns out.
Do you think he knew?
Hard to say. Hard to say.
Do you, Harvey?
I don't know, Kurt. The fact that the defendant's dad stood in line to get the autographs is not a warranty. And that will do it for this case. Litigants for the next case underway and in the courtroom right now.